Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I'm not gonna tell you an ad or talk about Momocon or Ivory Monocle Tea today. It's Mother's Day. This is the last episode of the family experiment from Pea Poisoning Tales, and I'm just gonna remind you guys to call your mom. Say hi to your mom. Let your mom know you love her. Mother's Day, and she pushed you out of her vagina, so she deserves it. On to tonight's story. Day 236. The screams have stopped after 45 hours. On the first 5 hours, Regis screamed, "I'll get Dr. Shanton for you. Let me go. Let me go, or please just kill me. Just kill me. Just kill me. It hurts so much." It was always the same words, growing more desperate every time they were pronounced. The next 2,400 minutes, he could only babble incoherently and cry. Maya locked George's room from the outside, barricaded it, took all the food to her room, locked her door, and made a second barricade. She's scared, but trying so hard to focus. So hard. Day 237. I'm a mess. We're not supposed to keep a personal log here, but I want to report it. It's relevant. It's relevant to the experiment. Yesterday, after leaving work, Dr. Ivanov took his life. He'd been quite disturbed by Regis's screams. Obviously, I mean, we all were. He was usually the colder one in the team. Today, shortly after hearing the terrible news, I found a letter in my pocket. It was signed by him. I used to think of myself as a brilliant man that could comprehend the human mind better than pretty much anyone. Maybe I am, but you know what? Is Joseph Mengele remembered for being a brilliant doctor that brought countless advances to medicine despite it being thanks to his cruelty and willingness to perform experiments that caused awful suffering? No. He was remembered for being a Nazi. That's what he was, above all. I, too, am in the first place a monster. I hope there is no afterlife because I fear the punishment for passively watching the human mind fall apart. You're a good man when we met, Melvin. I hope you still find this man inside you. Andrei. Day 1028. She's still here. Once again, after Andrei Ivanov's suicide, we researchers begged to end this madness, but sponsors would hear none of it. Unless, of course, we were willing to pay for every penny we spent on this project and a substantial fine for breaking our contract. At least Maya never does anything out of the ordinary. She never went to George's room again, and after a respectful amount of days, she moved to the master room. She's been really good with the craft work. Her cooking skills clearly improved, and now she knows conversational Japanese and German, and even started working out. It haunts me how strong her will is. If Dr. Ivanov was here, he would joke about wanting to open her brain to study. I should feel thankful that my job now consists of watching a young woman living on her own until the end of time, but I can't stop thinking about everything that happened. I close my eyes to sleep and I see George's smashed head. I look at every woman and can perfectly picture her scooping her eyes out. Every day, all the time. Day 1092. Now that Maya's of age and working really hard, we decided to make her a nice surprise. She'll live on her own forever, so we thought she might as well have a little fun alone. We let a few female pleasure supplies go into the grocery room. I swear to God, we weren't trying to be gross or watch her in a creepy way during the experiment. We heard all 4 members of the family masturbating, the parents having sex. These experiences were disgusting, and we were more than happy to know that they always did it under the sheets. And, well, she went to the grocery store, she saw the dildo and things of the sort, and she laughed for a whole hour. A literal whole hour. Her face was red, her hair was messy. She was tearing up, her legs were shaking so hard I was genuinely afraid that Maya was gonna burst. Guys, she yelled, clearly addressing us. You know what? I've lived all these awful days without once complaining or freaking out. I took care of my good-for-nothing parents. I fixed my brother's damn amputated hand. It was gross, so gross. She paused to wholeheartedly laugh a little more. I learned fucking Japanese and fucking woodwork, and I was good at it. Things I have no interest at all. Just to keep myself sane. Just to keep myself sane. Just to keep myself sane. She repeated that last phrase 103 times. This is a clear dissociation episode, the new psychiatrist in my team remarked. I currently know him for way more time than I knew Ivanov, but I refuse to learn his name. I refuse to acknowledge his existence. He's just an annoying voice to me. I can't handle feeling like shit again when he eventually jumps off a bridge. But you're never letting me out. Never. I'll never date someone. I'll never marry. I'll never go to college. I'll never do anything but be a creepy show for you guys. So you know what? Let's make it creepy. Let's make it creepy as fuck. Day 1093. We broke her. We broke Maya. Someone I grew to admire and even feel affection towards, and we did it. We did it by trying to be nice. She's masturbating nonstop. She's trying to break her body too, now that her mind is shattered. Today, Maya Smith stood motionless in her bed, still with her dress lifted, still with no underwear. The first thing I felt was relief because the family experiment was finally over. I said the assistants could go home. The new guy and I decided that we were going to go in and fetch her lifeless body. I turned all of our equipment off, smiling for the first time in over 3 years. The new guy leaned over her to check if she was actually dead. She wasn't. You see, Maya Smith developed a bold plan to escape. She started to craft a wooden knife in plain sight. If no one reprimanded her, she knew that she could count on at least one of the watchers. See, this watcher was me. I've been watching her alone since our new guy sucks and barely does his job, and the assistants are only required when I need to take notes or keep track of multiple screens at the same time. Maya was counting on the fact that the researchers had been as bored as her by now, and that we were probably getting pressed into keeping the study going. As soon as he leaned over her body, Maya quickly stabbed the new guy in the belly as he approached her. He coughed up a lot of blood. I ran in his direction to help him, and whoops, I let the subject get away. Cameras were off. No one else from the project was in the building. The security guard didn't know her. She was free. She was free. She was sane. After putting on a very convincing show. This is the first time I was able to properly breathe since the family experiment started. There are many reasons why I'm writing this suicide letter. First of all, I want to let someone know about the vicious experiment. In the second place, I know they'll get me for letting her go. They can't prove I did it on purpose, but they'll know. They'll always know. I decided to help Maya after I made up my mind about the suicide. My sons are both adults, forgetting of their old father these days. My wife died a few years prior to the project. I'm fine knowing I'll barely be missed. She, on the other hand, is so young and determined to keep living. How could I deny her that? Just let my own death go to waste. And the third reason is, as you know, I'm Dr. Shandon, the one the brown evil presence in the closet has been claiming. I love you, son. Don't blame yourself for not giving this old man more attention. I know you thought I was doing better than ever and nothing you could do would have avoided my death, and, well, I wrote a whole different letter for you, David, because I think you're better off not knowing for your own safety. Keep everything a secret. I just have one last favor to ask of you. If a woman named Maya Smith ever looks for you, please help her. Whatever she needs, you'll be helping your old father. Love, Melvin Shanton. November 20th, 2013. This week, my older brother Saul was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He asked to talk privately to me and decided to tell me his last secret. He got a very different suicide letter from our father back in 2013, entirely transcribed above. And, I'm David. I've been married to a woman I love with all my heart since 2015. Her maiden name... Maya Smith. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and once again, it's the end of tonight's video, so I want to tell you all thank you for listening or watching however you hear my voice. Whether it be on YouTube or on the podcast, thank you so much for being here with me. There's going to be a new story every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday night right here on YouTube, or if you're not watching on YouTube, that means the podcast gets updated on SoundCloud, Apple, Google Play, and now the podcast is on Spotify. So if it's easier for you guys to listen there than it is to listen on YouTube, then hey, not such a bad deal, right? As always, any support you guys give towards MrCreepyPasta Storytime really does help me out. I can actually keep the lights on in the house, and I can get nice little cat treats for Hercules. Okay, sorry for taking up so much of your time. Thank you guys for listening once again, and sweet dreams.